the Set It Free thing, I thought I basically was coming home one night just before the album came out, before the Visitors book album came out, and I was in a black cab, in London, black cab, black taxis.
Do you know the black cab?
No?
Sapete, questo è il black cab. Avete presente allora sui taxi neri, quindi...
It's like red telephone boxes, black cabs, it's like that.
Sono quelle cose tipiche, no?
And I was in a black cab, and I was chatting to this guy, and we were talking about all sort of spiritual stuff, like doing crystals and healers and angels and things. I don't think this is relevant anyway. And I said, oh man, you should have a copy of my album. And I had one copy of my album, and I gave it to the cab driver. A week later, he gives me a call. He goes, Jont, love your album, mate. Love your album. It's fucking brilliant. Been playing it to everyone. They love it. And suddenly I had this idea. Oh, I know what I should do. Anyway, he was quite a good guy. He was called Alan. He came around, and I had this idea that why don't I give on the day. So it worked out this whole scheme whereby I gave 200 copies. How's the best way of working it? I got the black cab drivers to help me distribute and start the game of CD sharing. So I signed up 200 black cab drivers just from standing in the roadside and explaining the concept of Set It Free to them, and wrote their email down and whatever, and gave them a free copy of the album, and said in the last week of June, when this album is released, please could you give this copy? Could you fill in the first page and give your copy to the person in your cab who you trust the most? Anyway, so that was one. And so and I'm not sure any of their copies have come back. And I guess one of the final things that I'm now wanting to do is that the event Unlit. I had a sort of epiphany in Australia, thanks to this troubadour trip. I had an epiphania to do with sort of what I was really, how to live my life as a musician, and I'm now going to put much less effort into my promoting. Essentially, I'm going to set up a charity. And Unlit is going to become a charity, and I'm going to raise money for people who've lost their homes in natural disasters. And we're going to raise money by streaming gigs live, putting on Unlits around the world in people's houses, but using well-known artists and marketing those gigs to their fan bases. And getting them to pay to stream the gigs. So say in France, I've got a friend who's a very big artist there called Charlie Winston. If he does one in France, probably 10,000 people would stream that gig. They'll pay €5 each, €2 each, whatever, try to work it out. That's 50,000 euros you've raised for charity, bang, in one night, and then use that as a template, which I could then use around the world, all over the place, as a sort of charity type thing. That's it. I think that's